Welcome you students. In today's class, I will discuss about the topic Introduction to Arduino. Here I am going to cover what is an Arduino, programming environment, advantage of Arduino and features of Arduino and its application and Arduino versus other environment. So let's start from what is an Arduino. Arduino is a microcontroller board. Arduino is an open source electronic platform based on easy to use hardware and software. Arduino refers to an open source electronics platform or board and the software used to program it. Arduino is designed to make electronics more accessible to artists, designers, hobbyists, and anyone interested in creating interactive objects or environment. Hardware is a open source in Arduino means open source means that you can view schematics of every board available. This means you are free to buy the hardware components and solder the board. Useful for anyone making interactive projects using electronics and computer science. Arduino is developed by Manu Manzi and Tom Igoi in 2005. Or an Arduino is actually a microcontroller based kit which can be either used directly by purchasing from the vendor or can be made at home using the components owing to its open source hardware features. It is basically used in communications and in controlling or operating many devices. Arduino can sense the environment by receiving input from varieties of sensors, affect its surroundings by controlling light, motors, and other actuators. Sense the environment by receiving input from varieties of sensors. Sensor is a device that transforms the physical quantity into electrical values. For example, light sensor transduce the light into change in voltage or resistance. Light sensor, that is photoresistor, photodiode and phototransistor. Photoresistor. In photoresistor, the value of the resistance depend on the incident light density, that is 1 kilo ohm at light, 10 kilo ohm at darkness. Now photodiode. The current is controlled by the incident light density, and phototransistor, that is base emitter junction is controlled by the incident light density, has an amplification effect. Arduino coding or programming environment. The Arduino can be programmed with the Arduino software, that is IDE, Integrated Development Environment. At Mega 328 on the Arduino Uno comes pre-burned with a bootloader. A bootloader is basically a hex file that runs when we turn on the Arduino board and allow us to program Arduino board over the serial port. It is very similar to BIOS that runs on our PC. Without the bootloader, we will need a special programmer, that is a VR USB ASP programmer to program the Atmel AVR, that is the bootloader that allow you to upload new code to it without the use of an external hardware programmer. You can also bypass the bootloader and the program microcontroller through the ICSF in circuits serial programming header. Here Arduino Uno is the example of Arduino board. It consists of Atmega 328. Arduino Integrated Development Environments works on Windows, Linux, and X platform. Arduino Integrated Development Environment. There is a structure of an Arduino sketch, which is start from void setup put your setup code here to run once, then bracket close, void loop, put your main code here to run repeatedly, then close the bracket. This is the syntax for the IDE coding in Arduino. Here program is written for initialize the library which the number of the interface pin liquid crystal LCD 12115432. So let's start the program. Void main, set up the LCD number or column and the rows, then print a message to LCD print hello world, bracket close. Now second void loop, bracket start, set the cursor to column 0 line 1. Line 1 is the second row since counting beginning with 0. Cursor 0 and 1 semicolon. Print the number or seconds since reset. LCD print MI 11 is bracket slash 1000 semicolon. Advantages of Arduino. First one is open source, means the Arduino hardware being open source means that you can convert schematic of every board available. This means you are free to buy the hardware components and solder the board. Simplified and user-friendly programming languages. No additional programmer burner hardware required for programming board. Microcontroller burner is a hardware device accompanied with the software which is used to transfer the machine language code to microcontroller or double EPROM from the PCs. Portable and low power consumption. The most important advantage with Arduino is the program can be directly loaded to the device without requiring any hardware programmer to burn the program. This is done because of the presence of the 0.5 kilobyte of bootloader which allow the program to be burned into the circuit. All we have to do is to download the code. The Arduino tool window consists of the toolbar with the buttons like verify, upload, new, open, save, serial monitor. It also consists of a text editor to write the code, a message area which display the feedback like showing the error, the text console which display the output, and a series of menus like the file, edit, tools menu. There is a steps to program an Arduino. Program written in Arduino are known as sketches. A basic sketch consists of three parts. First one is the declaration of variable. Second one, initialization is written in the setup function. And third one is the control code. It is written in the loop function. The sketch is set with Arduino extension. Any operation like verifying, opening a sketch, saving a sketch can be done using the buttons on the toolbar or using the tool menu. The sketch should be stored in the sketchbook directory. Choose the proper board from the tools menu and the serial port numbers. Click on the upload button or choose upload from the tool menu. Thus the code is uploaded by the bootloader onto the microcontroller. This one is the info panel and this one is verify. This allow you to compile your code to code the Arduino, understand any mistake you have made in the syntax of your code will be shown in the info panel. Info panel, this will show any error during the compiling or uploading code to your Arduino. This one is the upload. This does the same as verify but will then send your code to your Arduino if the code is verified successfully. This one is the code area. This is where you will type all your code, and this is also code area. This one is discussed earlier. Now basic Arduino board. A typical example of Arduino board is Arduino Uno. That is Arduino Uno. It consists of at mega 328 it 20 consists of 14 digital input and output pins, of which 6 can be used as PWM output pulse width modulation, and 6 analog inputs, a 16 MHz crystal oscillator, a USB connection, a power jack, an IC SP header, and a reset button. This one is the microcontroller at mega 328, which operating voltage is 5 volt, input voltage around 7 to 12 volt, digital input output pins, that is 14, of which is provide the PMW output. Analog input pin is 6, power around 3.3 to 5 volt, and ground. And capacity of flash memory is 32 KB at mega 328, and RAM 2 kilobyte, EPROM 1 kilobyte, clock speed is around 16 megahertz. This one is the Arduino Uno, which operating voltage is 5 volt, input voltage is same as at mega 7 to 12 volt, digital IO pins 14, analog input pin 6, same as at mega 328. This is operating voltage 5 volt, input voltage 7 to 12 volt. This is the digital IO pins, in which 40 IO pins, that is 14, of which 6 provide PWM output. This is the analog input pin, that is A0, A1, A2, A3, A4 and A5. Total 6 number of pins in analog input. This is the power operated at 3.35 volt, and there is a ground also. In power jack, Arduino can be powered either from the PC through a USB or through external source like adapter or a battery. It can operate on external supply of 7 to 12 volt. Power can be applied externally through the pin VIN or by giving voltage reference through the IO pin. Digital input. This one, digital input, it consists of 14 digital input output pins, each of which provide or take up 40 milliampere current. Some of them have special functions like pin number 0 and 1, which act as RX and TX transmitter and receiver respectively for serial communication. Pin number 2 and 3, this and this, which are external interrupt pins number 3, 5, 6, 9, 11, which provide PWM output, and pin 13, where LED is connected. Analog inputs. It has 6 analog input output pins, each providing a resolution of 10 bits. These are the features of Arduino Uno microcontroller at Mega 328 operating voltage 5 volt to 3.3 volt input voltage, which is already discussed in last slide. These are the most popular Arduino boards: Arduino Uno, Arduino Leonardo, Arduino Mega, Arduino Duo, Arduino Micro, Arduino Lilypad and Arduino Uno. These are popular Arduino boards. Arduino Applications, Home Automations. This application makes use of the Arduino Uno board Bluetooth interface for connectivity. Public Utility Automation. Application to manage public utilities like street lighting, dynamic traffic management, etc. Software loaded boards are connected to the home devices like lamp, AC, TV, refrigerator and Bluetooth software is interfaced with the board. The app loaded in the smartphone talk to the processor through Bluetooth connectivity, and inputs from the phone are used to control the operation of the devices. ISP programming. In-system programmer. ISP is the in-system programmer. The Arduino in-system programmer is a built-in function offered in the free Arduino IDE. The ISP allows you to program Arduino boards and other AVR microcontrollers using another Arduino board that is dedicated for the purpose. Easy Wi-Fi, GSM, Ethernet, Bluetooth, Zigbee connectivity. These are the application of Arduino. These are the prototyping platforms. There are other interesting platforms rather than Arduino are Raspberry Pi, BeagleBoard, which is also a mini computer with a single electronic board based on a Texas Instruments AM3 5335X. It also makes it possible to run a Linux. Arduino is a brand of several open source electronic boards incorporating a microcontroller. For example, the first Arduino Uno board is based on a 8 bits AVR microcontroller. The Arduino Duo has been designed around a Cortex M3 ARM architecture. Raspberry Pi is a nano computer the size of a credit card designed to encourage learning of computer programming on it. You can run a Linux OS and compatible software. BeagleBoard, which is also a mini computer with a single electronic board based on a Texas Instrument AM335X, and so on. Arduino versus other environments. Its support for analog input, limited computing power, comparatively cheap, no GPU unit limit means graphic processing unit. It has a memory PMW output available open source. Finally, Arduino is a cheap and versatile open source prototyping environment. Open source means the Arduino hardware being open source means that you can view schematic of every board available. This means you are free to buy the hardware components and solder the board. It is basically designed for novice, non-technical programming languages is simple. Arduino has a terrific community support and documentation. Technical people can use Arduino for testing sensor or other prototype work. It simplifies the process of creating any control system by providing the standard board that can be programmed and connected to the system without the need to any sophisticated PCB design and implementation. Open source hardware means anyone can get the detail of its design and modify it or make his own one himself. Thank you.